Okay, we are on page 49, I think. So again is about the minor sutras and the whether the minor sutra is authentic teachings of Buddha or not. So let's quickly do that. 49, page number 32, verse number 49. So again, if you accept as spoken by the Buddha any speech that has been included in the sutras, meaning your sutras, then why not accept the Mahayana sutras, which for the most part are equivalent to your sutras? So if you look at the Mahayana sutras and the sutras that you find available in today known as the Pali Canon, the sutras in Pali language and sutras in Sanskrit, many of them are just the same. Just the same. 15. It's because of one exception, seeing that whether the Buddha taught, like the six perfections and so forth, and like the emptiness, intrinsic reality and so forth, which are not seen in, otherwise not seen in the sutras available in Pali language. You see one difference there, and if you say everything of the Mahayana is corrupt, then why? Because one equivalent to your sutras would not all have been spoken by the Buddhas. Everything, but when you see the parallels. Okay, this is fine. 51. And who would consider unacceptable? Okay, now you do see some differences there. For example, like say the explaining emptiness, how that is explained, the selflessness, how that is explained in the Pali language, or related to the personal liberation teachings, and related to the liberation or the Buddhahood for all sentient beings. So we see that with respect to particularly with respect to selflessness concept, is so detailed explained. For example, like in the Buddha's teachings in Sanskrit language translated in Tibetan, there are about 110 volumes. And these 110 volumes, we see that there are number of the volumes which are dedicated just on emptiness. This so detailed explained by the Buddha. Now, what's being taught here is that there are many concepts in the minor teachings, which even the great teachers like the Mahakashyap, the first heir to Buddha Shakyamuni, Mahakashyap, who is considered as an incredible great teacher. In fact, the story has it that Mahakashyap was initially, he was not following the Buddha, he was a great teacher himself. And in those days, I would say that these great teachers, they're very open-minded. For example, Prince Siddhartha, he followed the two teachers, and then when reached the same level as the teachers, then they got a sense that what he has come here for, he's come here to get a solution to all the problems of samsara. He did not get it, so therefore he left. He's not saying that this is my tradition and your tradition, I don't listen to you. No, very open. Likewise, Mahakashyap, he was actually a great teacher himself, and he had many students. And these students, they sought permission from their teacher, Mahakashyap, and to learn from the Prince Siddhartha, Buddha Shakyamuni then. And then the Mahakashyap noticed one thing. That's his brilliant students. Okay, others, majority is fine where they follow. It depends on the fame, name, and so forth. But there's some brilliant students who they get connected with the Buddha, then they're so inspired. This is what Mahakashyap noticed. So therefore, Mahakashyap, he was so curious. I must meet this teacher to discuss, to see what is his realizations. Mahakashyap wanted to know that. Very open-minded. So he met with the Buddha Shakyamuni, and Buddha Shakyamuni also treated him as another teacher, not like, you are unenlightened being. No, as a teacher on the same level. And then in the course of discussion, they're talking about the reality and so forth. Then Mahakashyap realized that this Prince Siddhartha, he really reached to a very different level, which Mahakashyapa could never imagine that such a realization is possible. So he sought the permission that may I be allowed to be your student. So this is how Mahakashyapa became the Buddha's student. So that this is the openness of what is required. So with this in mind, but Mahakashyapa, what he followed according to the common understanding or the common historical account, has it that he was a pure arhat. He did not really have exposure to the Mahayana teachings. So there are many teachings in the Mahayana system, which even the great Mahakashyapa, incredibly, the first heir to the Buddha, even he could not understand. There are many concepts there. So this is what I'm sharing with you, that for example, studying Newtonian physics, and then suddenly you come to hear about, say, the quantum physics. Quantum physics, this is beyond what the Newtonian physics can imagine. So this is for this reason that there's a mention that there's a paradigm shift in physics. Say from the Galileo, and then from there going towards the Newton. There's no mention of the paradigm shift from Newtonian physics to quantum physics and relativity theory. This word, paradigm shift, this phrase came into existence, which means that it's starkly different. There's a stark contrast between the Newtonian physics and the quantum physics. So likewise, you understand what is taught in the concepts taught in the teachings meant for the personal liberation seekers. And then you move to the Mahayana teachings. There are many sophisticated concepts which even Mahakashyapa, the incredible teacher, he could not really fathom it. So it says, 51. And who would consider unacceptable some speech, the depths of which even Mahakashyapa and the like could not fathom, simply because you cannot understand it. Simply because you cannot understand it doesn't mean that these are not taught by the Buddha. Okay. And I personally would say that if you're really keen on these things, particularly people, this is what I just casually share with people who are so kind with animals, who are animal activists and so forth. Some people, who are really deeply just selflessly working for the voiceless animals. Some people, for example, like here, the Nicole, and there must be some others also. And for example, like I have some friends there, it's amazing. But at times what happens is that they become too, of course they're very practical on the ground. They're ready to just get up early in the morning, say like 2 a.m. when they hear the cries of the dogs. They would just get up and then go to rescue the dogs. It's amazing. So some of them have the feeling that if we, this is what to be done. If we don't do that and study deep philosophy, what's the point? So what I would say is that particularly someone who's very compassionate for the poor people, for the poor, the voiceless animals, those people should study Mahayana teachings. Then they will know it's not just what they're working on. They can expand their work. For example, like reading Bodhisattva Maitreya's text, Abhisamaya Alankara, which in the monastic universities they study for like 6, 7, 8 years. So this is just mind-boggling. It's just baffling concepts. It's amazing. So when I read this, it reminds me of Abhisamaya Alankara. And studying that is so massive, vast. So your thinking will keep broadening. It broadens your thinking so much. For example, like you look at His Holiness the Dalai Lama's, say way of managing things. You can see that these are in line with Abhisamaya Alankara, where they might be so broad. They don't just confine to small things. They're not being, these small things doesn't really matter. They got big, and then they keep expanding. They work for the service of the humanity. They just keep expanding. Service for the humanity, for the sentient beings, for the animals, for the vegetation's ecology. just keep expanding. This is amazing. So where did His Holiness get these brilliant, amazing courage, the visions get from? You see the Abhisamalankara. And where Abhisamalankara are material, where did he get from? From Buddha Shakyamuni. Look at the sutras. So this is something where we need to really expand our horizon of knowledge. Not just to confine ourselves to small thing. Oh, I meditate, the breath, I feel cool sensation, and then you think this everything, and somebody says that is the the great teachings of Madhyamaka Avatar, Mula Karika. Then the Abhisamalankara and so forth. Oh yeah. But inside you know that you're fixed. This meditation is ultimate. Just get breathing meditation, and then you feel some sensations, cool feelings happen. You feel that this is everything. So this is too narrow-minded. Just expand. Just learn more, and when you're 100% sure that this doesn't make sense, just quit it. This is just a little bit of digression. 52. After all, the fruit of realizing emptiness is this. So finally, Bodhisattva Shantideva is in a way like a little bit summarizing, saying that what is the fruit for the minor practitioners? What's the fruit of realizing the emptiness of objective reality? Is this through freedom from the extreme of attachment and fear. Meaning that, what is that extreme of the attachment? Fear is samsara. In samsara, there are things which glue us, involuntarily they pull, which is attachment, and involuntary push, aversion, and fear. So this one extreme, which is extreme of samsara. So you'll be freed from that. You'll be freed from that. And then the one is able to remain in samsara, meaning that by being, while through freedom from the extremes of attachment and fear, one is able to remain in samsara for the sake of those who suffer due to ignorance. Okay, so but there are two extremes. So one is extreme of samsara, and the other is the extreme of personal liberation. These are the two extremes. So the bodhisattvas, they're so courageous. They're so courageous. Finally, what they aspire is they aspire to attain what is known as non-abiding nirvana. Let me say this again. Finally, what they want to aspire is they want to aspire non-abiding nirvana. What is that nirvana? The Buddhahood. Why this nirvana is known as non-abiding? It does not abide in the two extremes, extreme of samsara and extreme of nirvana. How? By seeing emptiness. By seeing emptiness, samsaric involuntary pull and push is cut. By compassion, you don't stay in the personal peace of the personal liberation. So you're free from two extremes and attain Buddhahood. So therefore the Buddhahood is referred to as the non-abiding nirvana. But till you attain that state, what do you prefer? There are only two choices, either samsara or personal nirvana, till Buddhahood. Before you attain Buddhahood, only these two possible. So within these two possible, they prefer to stay in samsara. So therefore, the bodhisattvas, gade, paragade, when they reach that level, paragade level, path of seeing, if they put effort, they can attain personal liberation. But they don't put the effort for their personal liberation. They continue to be in samsara. Meanwhile, they're working to eradicate the cognitive obscurations. Focus more on the eradicating cognitive obscurations and accumulating merits. Whereas if they put effort, it is said that they can attain personal nirvana by the time they reach the path of seeing, gade, paragade level. Okay. So, till they attain the non-abiding nirvana, they would rather prefer to be in samsara. Though the attachment to samsara and the fear, they are cut through the wisdom of emptiness, through the freedom from the extremes of attachment and fear of samsara. One is able to still remain in samsara for the sake of those who suffer due to ignorance, out of great compassion. Okay. So we see that the emptiness, if you understand emptiness correctly, one side is emptiness, other side is and dependent origination. One side is emptiness, other side dependent origination. In the loose sense, seeing emptiness, the foundation for all the destructive emotions like attachment, anger, jealousy, fear, they all crumble down. Seeing emptiness, wisdom emptiness, self-grasping ignorance eradicated. Because of this, all of what is stacked on top of this, attachment, anger, jealousy, all these will crumble down. In other words, the fears of samsara will stop. Seeing dependent origination, your compassion grows. Your compassion grows. And then some of you may wonder that even then the Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, according to Prasangika, Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, they realize emptiness, they also realize dependent origination, but their compassion doesn't grow. So how do you account for this? This is a very important point. I said, when you see emptiness, the Arya Nagarjuna, in his text, in praise of the Bodhichitta Vivarana, said that seeing emptiness, your compassion will automatically grow. Then does it happen to Shravakas Pradika Buddhas? Yes, it happens. Because for them the anger subsides. What's the opposite of compassion? What's the opposite of compassion? Huh? What's the opposite of compassion? Disregard, hate. Girl there? Sirubia. Sirubia, which is self-cherishing. Right? Yes?
Yes, self-cherishing.
Okay, self-cherishing. So, say that the opposite of the attachment is anger, hatred, self-cherishing. So, when the anger subsides, what I would say that gross self-cherishing, not this self-cherishing. When the anger subsides, when the self-grasping ignorance is gone, then all what is stacked on this, including anger and so forth, they subside. When the anger subsides, opposite of anger is? Anger pushes you away. Opposite of that is embrace you. What embraces you? Compassion. So compassion increases. But, say, just by realizing emptiness, compassion increases, no doubt. In fact, the Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, we may think that they don't have compassion. That's not true. If you are to see their compassion, you may think that they are great Bodhisattvas. Perhaps some of you may think that they are actually Buddhas. Okay, shall I share the anecdotes or no? Huh? Okay, today I'll ask Prince-Love. Yes, no? I don't want to share. No, I'm neutral. So what do you want? Okay. And the story is exactly what Prince-Love is saying. He already knows the story. He is so out compassion, he wants others to listen to this. He knows the story already. Okay, he just summarized it, one word, leper. I'll share another story. Okay. Maybe both. The leper story is that there was an old lady who was suffering from leprosy. You know what is the leprosy problem? Where your fingers can drop like this. Your fingers affected by this disease. We don't end up, please explain what it is. Okay, to cut it short, the fingers drop. There's a problem. So this lady was suffering from leprosy and she was holding a bowl full of porridge. And there was one arahat passing by. And this arahat is particularly renowned for his amazing, the presence. Just by seeing him, you could just feel that respect and devotion. Everything comes to you just very naturally. And then this lady just thought that, I wish that I got the merit to offer my porridge to this arahat, not to this monk, because the lady would not know whether it's arahat or not, but actually it was arahat. And the arahat sensed the lady's thoughts, so the arahat came towards the lady, old lady, and then requested, please give me some alms. And the old lady was so happy, but she knows that she's suffering from leprosy. So she said that, I'm suffering from leprosy. I like to offer this, but I'm suffering from leprosy. It can be contagious. Then the arahat is actually not looking for the food, but he sensed that the pure thought of the lady, and he, out of compassion, he came straight to the lady, and the arahat said, don't worry, please give me something. And the lady was so happy, and they started to pour the porridge into the arahat's bowl. While doing so, one of the fingers dropped into the arahat's bowl. Then the lady freed, so worried, and she really literally freed, and the arahat could sense this. And then you decide, it's what? A leprosy finger. And in front of this lady, the arahat picked up the finger, kept it aside, and in front of the lady, he just consumed the porridge. You're getting it? He doesn't have to consume it right there, but he consumed it, right? To tell the lady, don't worry. If somebody is to worry, it's me. I am not worried. I have no problem. So you don't have to worry. Be at ease. If you see such a person, would you describe that person as a bodhisattva or not? For sure you will describe that as a person bodhisattva. So it's incredible compassion, but it is not referred to as the great compassion. Great compassion, far beyond, far more profound than this. So this one anecdote. And the anecdote was that there was a beggar who was lying there, extremely poor, difficult, and two arahats, they were coming, and they always see him there. And next to the beggar, where the beggar was sitting, there was a stupa which contains the relics of one of the past Buddhas. And the two arahats, they asked the beggar, why there is a stupa here? Why don't you go there and accumulate merit? And the beggar could not even walk. I cannot walk. How can I go there? And the two arahats, what they did is they lifted him up, lifted the beggar, the old beggar, and put him there. And then they got some butter and so forth. In the olden times, as a sign of respect, sign of offering, they smeared the butter on the stupas in the olden times, as a sign of respect, devotion, offerings. And then these two others, they got the butter, and then they brought this beggar, and the beggar, they can't even move his hand. So the arahats, they lift their hand and then put a butter in his hand, and then with the hands of the arahats, they were making the hand of the beggar to smear on the stupas. So if you see these people, very kind people, how would you describe them? As bodhisattvas or not? For sure you will describe them as bodhisattvas. It's amazing. But they are arahats, not the bodhisattvas. Okay. So the question is that whereas dependent origination, how the arahats, they see dependent origination, it is in a very simplistic form, not a sophisticated form. Because how they study emptiness, how they meditate emptiness is in a very simplistic form, not the very elaborate form. So what happened was that now I understand what it means by that. When I was in my third year of my studies, maybe the time it was like Venerable Ngawala's the class level. When I was of that level, I was in Drepung, and then I met the senior student, amazingly brilliant logician, philosopher, plus incredible good heart. Really, I would describe him as a Bodhisattva, a senior monk, meaning a senior student. And then I just casually shared my stories with him. That why should I have to study too much? It was my thought. It was my thought those days. Why should I have to study too much? So finally, your job is to attain Buddhahood. For the Buddhahood, you need the wisdom and the Bodhicitta. And Bodhicitta, the steps, they're easy. I learned it. Now I have to meditate on it. I have to experience it. And for the emptiness, the basic intro of the emptiness in the Avisamalankara text, in the initial text, there's a little short, the exposition on emptiness. So but this is good enough. So why do we need to study, for so many years? And this senior student, he said, to some extent what he said is right, but studying more extensively, there should be a reason. There should be a reason. And then then I persevered in my studies. And then finally I pushed 1 year, 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, finally closer to sitting for the Geshe degree. And my teacher, Venerable Geshe Rinpoche, all what we are learning now about emptiness mostly is coming from him. And I did not want to sit for Geshe Laramba degree. You know what Geshe Laramba is? Many of you know that. I don't want to sit for this. Not because that I hate it. Because that it's more like I want to go from personal practice. Why should have spent too much time in Geshe Laramba. And so I have to seek permission from my teacher that I be allowed to deviate. So I have to have reasons. And I have no reasons. So I reluctantly had to go through the Geshe Laramba degree exam, the first year. And by the time I was in the process of the exam, I had ulcer problem. It was severe. I was so happy. Now this excuse. So I went to my teacher, sir, I'm getting sick. Please allow me not to continue with the exams. And yes, of course. I was so happy. My other teachers will easily grant me permission. But this is a teacher, my main teacher, he will not grant me permission. So I'm so glad that he got it. And then the next year, the exam approaching, again students have to fill up the application. And once the application is submitted, then the students will be exempted from many other responsibilities. So my classmates, they are waiting, what happened, Dorji? Please submit your application. And I was just reluctantly trying to push it away. And my classmates, what happened, Dorji? We're waiting for you. So I felt so uncomfortable. What to do, right? I was just trying to ignore things, and then they will submit themselves, and I'm left out, and it's another excuse. But they were insisting that I should submit. So then, what to do? If I keep doing this, they will be they will suffer. So again, I went to, by that time, after 1 year, my ulcer problem is okay, it's gone. Now excuses no more there. And I went to my teacher, sir, please exempt me from this exam. Why? So I cannot say I'm sick. I'm not sick. I'm telling lies if I say I'm sick. So, no, why? Finish. Okay, sir. Again with the exam, again I become sick. Again I go to, sir, I'm become sick. Right? Oh yeah, of course you are sick. Don't worry. No exam required. Right? And again the same thing happened. It is how I pushed like 6 years. Okay, why is that? I don't forget it. Oh yes. And then meanwhile, my interest, not only my, it's more like my colleagues, my friends, my seniors. Amazing. I'm very fortunate to have met with amazing senior students. Meaning that not my students, the senior colleagues, student colleagues. They have they're deep into contemplation, meditation, emptiness, with the deep, profound knowledge. Amazing. We come together, study together, contemplate, meditate, ask questions. What do you think? So we all is talking about the really in your meditation state, not just intellectual. Intellectual plus meditation state is extremely powerful. Then I realized, oh, that's amazing. If I quit 6 years ago, so whatever little experience of the some kind of understanding of emptiness that I am getting now will be just not even 1/10 of this will be there then. So I'm so grateful that somehow my teacher skillfully pushed me in this direction. I'm so glad. So therefore systemic studies is so important, so precious. Okay, so the point is that the most sophisticated the understanding of emptiness, most sophisticated understanding of dependent origination, most sophisticated understanding of dependent origination, the compassion can be very sophisticated. So therefore, the Shravakas and Pradigas, although they see emptiness directly, but how they see emptiness directly and the Bodhisattvas see emptiness directly is very different. Bodhisattvas, they understand emptiness directly in a very sophisticated way, which allows them to have a very sophisticated understanding of dependent origin, which allows them to have an incredibly profound compassion. So this is the difference. Okay, but this in mind. 53. As this is the case, disputation against emptiness is improper. Finally, what we want is, we want to be free from suffering, and we want to experience the infinite happiness. And these two are actually given rise to by the wisdom of emptiness. With the wisdom of emptiness, the fears will be gone rid of, you attain fearlessness. And with the wisdom of emptiness, your understanding of dependent origination will become very sophisticated. That makes you have the infinite happiness. So both will be accomplished by the meditation emptiness. So as this is the case, and disputation against emptiness is improper. Therefore, without indecision, please meditate on emptiness. Okay, 54. Emptiness is the remedy to the darkness of afflictive and cognitive obscurations. Mental defilements that we have, afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations. So these two can be eradicated only by the wisdom of emptiness. Other wisdoms, the wisdom of emptiness of autonomous substantial reality and so forth, they will just say temporarily suppress your gross mental defilements, but that cannot eradicate the mental defilements from the root. So what does this job of eradicating the mental defilements from the root is the wisdom of emptiness. 54. Emptiness is the remedy to the darkness. When you say emptiness, technically it should be the wisdom of emptiness. Don't just say emptiness. The wisdom of emptiness is a remedy to the darkness of afflictive and cognitive obscurations. So how can someone wishing to achieve omniscience, somebody who wants to become enlightened, quickly not meditate on this wisdom of emptiness, of objective existence? 55. Well, now this is the summary. Since grasping at the true existence of things gives rise to suffering, which we fear suffering. We fear suffering. And suffering is given rise to by the self-grasping ignorance, while realizing emptiness pacifies that suffering. But some people, when they hear about emptiness, they are scared. They fear that. They're scared. And they're actually scared of something which will actually remove your fear. This is very unfortunate. If you're scared of something which removes your fear, then you will not go in that direction. If you don't go in this direction, your fear will never go away. So the wise people will see that wisdom and emptiness, the initial experience, you can have a tinge of a fear. But this fear is not because of the wisdom and emptiness, it's because of the clash between our chronic disease of believing things object real with the new wisdom that you are developing. There's a clash there. So as you practice more and more of the wisdom and emptiness, then the other side, self-grasping ignorance, the chronic disease will be mitigated, and because of which, then as the wisdom of emptiness becomes more and more powerful, then the fear will be replaced with the incredible peace and incredible tranquility, which we have never experienced before. 54 once more. Since grasping at the true existence of things gives rise to the suffering which we fear. So self-grasping ignorance versus wisdom of emptiness. Self-grasping ignorance gives rise to fear. Wisdom of emptiness gives rise to freedom from fear. So why are you scared? Why are you scared of what eliminates the fear? You should go in that direction to embrace it, to get rid of the fears. So why is that said? It's because that in the olden times, amongst the Buddhists, even amongst the Buddhists, people, when they fail to understand emptiness well, those who adhere to the belief in objective existence, when they hear about emptiness, they feel so scared. They block the ears and they run away. Particularly when they hear the people reciting Heart Sutra, form is empty, emptiness is form, and so forth. It says that some of the people who do not believe in the Mahayana tradition, so they block the ears, they run away. And also, it's not just them, even we. For some of us, this fear can come in us. Not because you got emptiness, because that, say, the tendency for us is when you go into emptiness, it can go into the initial experience will be like going into nihilism. With the nihilism, the fear is bound to be there. And sometimes, either it can drag you into fear, acute fear, or it can drag you into indulgence. There's nothing there. There's no good, bad, so you do whatever you like. So it is like 1960s hippies. Huh? Hey, 1960s hippies. Right? Leon, how do you know that? You don't. You are in 2010. You're born in 2010. Right? So things is, 1960 hippies. Tadena, You don't know. Naima? You don't know. Namsala? You don't know. Okay, the Srindola? Oh, Srindola don't know, okay. Tenzin? You don't know. Okay, now I'm shooting up. Okay, Igor? You heard it, you don't know that. Okay, Brinslav? Okay, that's interesting. Nicholas, you don't know. Okay. Sanjukta, you don't know. Heard of it, okay. Kim? You know that. Okay. Is there anybody who knows it? Raise hands. Okay, Venerable, what does it mean? What is it like? Okay, Mike.
It's all about love, loving everybody and wanting peace for everybody and reacting against the establishments that are trying to tell you what to do all the time. And it's, I guess it was also a lot about sex, drugs and rock and roll too. That was
everything, indulgence.
A big part of the
exactly.
hippie era.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
except Geshe, I did want to ask something. A few days ago,
Yes.
You said that you would like us to remind you on what are the subtle cognitive obscurations and how to identify them. And I thought this would be a good time to ask you.
Good time. Oh, how many you remember? How many remember that? And how many you exactly remember the question? How you remember the question? Reasons? Oh, who are those people who are supposed to remind me of this question? They disappeared. Okay, Kunjoli, tell me. What's the question? But don't say I think.
What is cognitive obscuration, and can you give examples of cognitive obscuration?
Very good. Okay. What exactly is cognitive obscuration? Okay, say illustration and metaphors. So metaphors, what metaphor did I give you? Smell of the garlic. Smell of the garlic. Thank you. Remove the solid garlic, no trace of solid garlic, you smell it, it still smells garlic. So solid garlic is a metaphor for the afflictive obscurations, and the removing the solid garlic and still smells garlic, that is the metaphor for the cognitive obscuration. Now, what exactly is cognitive obscuration, number one, and number two, what examples, what illustrations are there? Okay, what exactly is what? Cognitive obscurations. Okay, we are done with 55, right? So now we will, this is the transition. Okay, so let's say that this is very important. Hey, don't think I'm sharing stories. This is very important. This is not difficult. It is a technical. Not difficult. Not difficult because you can understand it. It is not stories. It is a technical thing. Unless you pay attention, you cannot guess. Okay. If you put on blue glasses and look at Mount Kailash, what color of the snow will you see? Blue color. And if I point to that, you are still in your blue glasses on, and then I point to Mount Kailash and say that, okay, say that this is blue snow, or this snow is blue. Will you agree? Not agree? Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we have to redo the retreat from the day one again, right? Okay, let me say this again. Right, it's time for lunch. Yeah, so, and what I'm saying is we are all wearing blue glasses. And then with blue glasses on, we went to see Mount Kailash, and then I said that the color of this snow is blue. Will you agree with me or not? Are you good? Are you good? Because so colors, but the snow appears blue. Yes? Snow appearance blue is correct or incorrect? Incorrect. But your mind, mentally you know that it's not blue. Mentally you know that it's not blue. Your mind, mental consciousness does not apprehend it as blue. You getting it? So when you interact with the object, like the snow, when you interact with any object, when your mind interacts with a flower, your mind interacts with your food, when your mind interacts with the Buddha, Buddham Charan Gacchami, or whether your mind interacts with your mobile, whatever, when your mind as a subject, when it interacts with the object, what did it say? When your mind as a subject interacts with the object, and so how the interaction is happening is with the two functions or two activities. One is the act of appearance, act of appearing, and the act of apprehension. Act of appearance and the act of apprehending. The first, let's say we look at the flower and we say that the flower appears to my mind. Is correct, not correct? The flower appears to mind. We will not say that my mind appears to the flower. So act of appearance is related to the object. Object, the flower is the object, appears to my mind. So this act of appearance is related to the object. Now I say, okay, I know that this is a flower. So my mind engages with the flower, or my mind apprehends the flower. You don't say that the flower apprehends my mind. You say that my mind apprehends the flower. You get it? So there are two activities. One, the act of appearing, and the other one is the act of apprehending. Act of appearance, act of appearing is the action related to the object, and the act of apprehending is the action related to this subject, to your mind. How many got it? Resents? Okay, good. How many did not get it? How many did not get it? No, you do. Did what? Act of appearances. Oh, okay. One more time. Okay. Same. When your mind interacts with the flower, this interaction happens with two activities, two actions. One action is the action of appearing. Other is the action of apprehending. Two actions. So in what way these two appear, these two seem very similar. This is not similar. There's a subtle difference there. First, act of appearing. Let's say that the flower appears to my mind. We will never say, my mind appears to the flower. You agree? Naima, you agree? What did I say? Yes, Mike? The flower appears to my mind. You would not say, my mind appears to the flower.
No, Geshe.
Okay, Dedanla, say it.
The flower appears to the mind doesn't appear to the flower.
So the act of appearance is with respect to, related to the flower or the object. Then you say that my mind apprehends the flower. You don't say that the flower apprehends the mind. So this act of apprehension, apprehending, is the activity of the mind, the subject. You agree? Okay. How many don't agree? No. How many don't understand it still? Everybody got it. Good. Now the next point is the mistake. We can have mistake. In these two activities, they can go wrong. There can be erroneous appearance and erroneous making mistake. Mistaken appearance and mistaken apprehension. You're getting it? For example, okay, let's say, look at the flower. How does this flower appear as objective real or as subjective real? Objective real. You're getting it? And imagine that you are Arhat. Imagine that you are Arhat, who have already abandoned self-grasping ignorance. You look at it. How does the flower appear to you? Objective real, subjective real? How does the flower appear to you? I'm not saying how do you apprehend the flower. This is not my question. I'm going, how does the flower appear to you as object? Even if you are a hut, still the flower appears object real. The flower will stop appearing to you as object real only when you become a Buddha. Till that point, the conventional phenomena will continue to appear as objectively real. Let's not forget it. It's very important. Now you are Arahat. Your mind, so act of appearance, it is mistaken or not mistaken? The flower appears object real, while we know that we've already learned that nothing exists objectively real, right? So that the flower appears object real, on the appearance level, is it mistaken or not mistaken? Mistaken. Mistaken, very good. So there's a mistake in the appearance. Now, Arahat. Does the Arahat apprehend the flower? Oh, it is objectively real. Yes, no? Why no? Because they already abandoned self-grasping ignorance. So, apprehension-wise, there's no mistake. But appearance-wise, there's a mistake there. You're getting it? So, which of the two mistakes is easier to be got rid of? Mistake on that for us. Okay, let's say you think of a cheesecake or momo. You think of a momo. How does that appear to you? Object real or subject real? How How does it appear to you? Sanjukta, you like momos? Okay. How does it appear? Subjectively real, objectively real? I thought you said subjectively real. Objectively real. Okay. So the momo appears as objectively real. Appearance was mistaken, not mistaken. Huh? What happened? The momo appears as objectively real. Appears, appearing. At appearance, it appears as objectively real. Is mistaken, not mistaken? Mistaken, very good. And then your mind, does it apprehend the momo as objectively real or not? Right? So when you say, wow, the mind apprehends the momo as objectively real or not? Sanjukta? Yes. Okay. So there's a mistake in the apprehension also. Because the moment does not exist subjectively, but you apprehend it as subjectively real. And how do you know that you apprehending it as subjectively real? How do you know that? Because your mouth waters. Your mouth waters. And your what? The endorphin gets excited. Endorphin is released. Right? So which hormone is released? Or whatever hormone is released, right? Some hormones released excited your mind. So this is a clear indication that the appearance-wise there's mistake and apprehension-wise there's mistake. For our arahats, appearance-wise there's mistake, apprehension-wise there's no mistake with respect to the objective reality. You're getting it? So now look, I'm making a very important statement, and I make even go to extent saying a bold statement that of the distinction between afflictive obscurations and the cognitive obscurations. Afflictive obscurations are those obscurations related to the misperception or related to the erroneous apprehension of the object with respect to objective existence. Let me repeat it. Afflictive obscurations are those obscurations related to the apprehension of the erroneous apprehension of the objects as objectively real. Now, cognitive obscurations are the obscurations which are related to the misperception with respect to the appearance of the object as objectively real. Let me repeat it. Cognitive obscurations are obscurations related to the erroneous appearance of the object as objectively real. Let me repeat it. Afflictive obscurations are the obscurations which are related to the mind, which erroneously apprehends the object as objectively real. Apprehension was mistake with respect to objective reality. Cognitive obscurations are the obscurations which are related to the erroneous appearance of the object as objectively real. So self-grasping ignorance is mistaken with appearance as well as apprehension. Apprehension and appearance, which of the two is easier to be gotten rid of? Apprehension. So afflictive obscurations are easier to be cleansed. So even if you cleanse afflictive obscurations, still perception of things as things appearance object real is still there. So this is the symptom of cognitive obscurations. So if somebody were to ask you what exactly is cognitive obscurations, so the great scholars, for example, like Lama Tsongkhapa, say that there's a subtle imprint within the mind which is responsible in triggering the things to appear as objective real. So appearance of objective reality per se, some scholars say this is cognitive obscuration, some say not, it doesn't matter. But Lama Tsongkhapa very clearly indicated subtle imprints within a mind. For example, subtle imprints of anger, subtle imprints of attachment, subtle imprints of self-grasping ignorance, which never manifest in the form of the gross afflictions, but whose stains are responsible in giving rise to the erroneous appearance of object reality. These are the cognitive obscurations. Okay, how many you got 50% and above? 50% more. Very good. This is extremely important. Okay. Shall I ask the next question? Which repeat? Question or the answer? Everything. Okay. So what is that? Our mind, with respect to objective existence, our mind can be erroneous in two ways. One way, it can be, with respect to objective existence, it can be erroneous in ways of the object appearing as objective real, number one. In ways of the mind apprehending the object as objective real. Of the two, the first one falls under the category of the cognitive obscuration, and the second one, erroneous apprehension of the object as objective real, falls under the category of the afflictive obscuration. So this distinction is there. Now shall I ask the next question before we go for dinner? Right? Okay. Once I ask a question, you know the rule? So you want me to ask a question or not? First I ask a question, then you will see whether I ask a question or not. Right? Okay, the question is, this is not the question. This question, don't worry. Okay, anything else? I ask, not ask? Say it again. No, the Mike. I hope she doesn't ask the correct question.
Geshe, the question is that how cognitive obscuration obscures you from becoming Buddha?
Obscures?
Obscures from attaining Buddhahood, I mean.
That is the very definition. Oh, I'm lucky. I thought that she was asking something, okay, which otherwise I'm going to ask. Yes. That is fine. It's the metal stains. I already said it. Right? Okay, shall I ask a question or not? Leon, shall I ask? Not ask. No chance. No second chance. No second chance. Okay, I'm not hearing. So what happened? I don't know. To my ears. Tirtha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha